So we got a chance to see Kyler Murray play last night for the Arizona Cardinals. And as it may be with all young players, we're going to overreact to how good he was, how good he looked. And he was 6 of 7, 44 yards for a team that was arguably the most boring team in the National Football League. They were exciting to watch. I was thrilled. I was fascinated. I was like, man, I cannot wait. It's important to point out that while he was tremendous, he was, in fact, moving in times and running for his life, and that's against the Chargers without Joey Bosa and without Melvin Ingram, two dynamic pass rushers that didn't play for the Chargers. But let's not make overwhelming thoughts and predictions on what he is or will be and what his upside is. And, can he be a 5'9.5" Pat Mahomes? That's really what we're kind of trying to. Can he be a 5'9.5" Pat Mahomes? Is that possible? Is that possible? I don't know. I don't know. Yes, I know he measured at 5'10" or whatever, but the truth is most people think that there was something funny going on with those measurements. But what I do know is, I know two things from watching Arizona play last night. First, David Johnson in fantasy football, he's going to get 110 catches, right? Isn't he? David Johnson is the perfect back and in the perfect situation, which brings me to Kyler Murray. What is life about? What is your job about? Your relationship with your significant other about? Your friends about? So much of it is about your fit. It's not good people, bad people, right? Some people don't work in a relationship not because one person's good and one person's bad, but because they don't fit, right? Like, you can be opposites and attract. Can you fit together? You can be the exact same. Can you fit together? And sometimes being the exact same thing can lead to disasters because you're both so stubborn or you're both so shy, or sometimes it can be perfect. And the same can be true for opposites, right? Opposites can, in fact, attract because that person brings you balance. But do they bring you joy? Do they fit what you need in that time in your life? The same is true at your job. It's not even sometimes about the job. It's about the job and when it fits in your life. Man, that was a great job. But it was in New York, and it was at a time when my dad was sick, and I wanted to be in L.A., and it just didn't fit me at that time. Or I had a relationship that was a great relationship, but I had just gotten out of a long-term relationship, and it didn't, in fact, work. Football teams are much the same. Basketball teams are the same. To play for the Lakers back when they had Shaq and Kobe and ran the triangle, it didn't matter how good a point guard you were. If you had to have the ball in your hands and you had to run screen and roll if you're John Stockton, that wasn't going to work. Do you know why? Because that's not how they played. You weren't a good fit. I mean, think about it. Pat Mahomes, had he gone to a different team, the Bears, for example, like Pat Mahomes, but they felt like Mitch Trubisky because Trubisky was a little bit more what they thought was buttoned up because he had sat before in college. They felt like he was a better fit for them. Now, Pat Mahomes is a better quarterback. It was a bad decision, but would Pat Mahomes be the same quarterback had he not gone to Kansas City and learned from Alex Smith and played for Andy Reid, who's great with quarterbacks? Oh, yeah, by the way, he had Tyreek Hill, a guy who has the strongest arm in the NFL, has the one wide receiver that no one can overthrow. And then you have Travis Kelce, who's always open, and Sammy Watkins, who, whatever you think about Sammy Watkins, he has tremendous hands. If he's your third or fourth best pass receiver, that's not bad. So I watched Kyler Murray last night, and my takeaway was this. I don't know if it's going to work. Right? No idea. He's tiny. He is really, really small. And it's not just that he's small, and the ability to see over the middle of the defense, because all of those throws were outs. All of those throws were outside the pocket or, short little outs. He wasn't staring down a defense, standing up tall, and firing that ball down the middle of the field. That's the big challenge when you're small. I don't know if he'll be able to take contact. He likes to move. He's 205 pounds. He gets touched, he's going down. Don't know if they can touch him. And it should be pointed out, he's closer to the ground than other guys, so maybe it doesn't hurt him as much as other guys. But here's what I do know. His head coach is a former quarterback who's had a relationship with Kyler since he was in high school. That does, in fact, matter. Additionally, the head coach ran the same offense when he was in college and understands the transition of going to the pros because he's been a pro himself. And he understands this offense because he's coached it in college. He's coached it. He's coached it at different schools, and he has the perfect quarterback who's run the offense previously. The offense is perfect because it's designed for a team. You can have a terrible offensive line as long as you get rid of it quickly, and that's what this offense is designed for. You can throw it instead of running it, and they actually have really good wide receivers. You got Christian Kirk on one side, you got Larry Fitzgerald, you got David Johnson. You have a bunch of pass-catching threats. You're playing indoors, which makes your team faster, which makes ball handling easier because there's no inclement weather for your quarterback who has a smaller person, smaller hands, more likely to fumble. Every box that is possibly checked in terms of the likelihood of something succeeding, right, is checked for Kyler Murray. It doesn't mean that it will work. But you have a general manager who is all in. Like, look, he just drafted a quarterback the year before and had to bail on him. If this doesn't work, Steve Keim is out. Out. Cliff Kingsbury, this has to work for him. He just got fired at his alma mater. Now he's in the pros. It was a surprise hire. If this doesn't work, he's gone. He's not going to be a head coach again. He knows it. They are completely invested in the player, and the player comes from a similar system, so there's not a lot of verbiage change. It's only stepping up in level of competition, but you also have a higher level of support. I'm not going to sit here and hot take it and tell you if I think Kyler Murray makes it or doesn't make it. He's going to get every possible opportunity, have the complete and undivided support of his general manager and of his head coach. And his head coach, of course, has played the position and run the offense and has played in the pros and knows Kyler to a T because, well, he coached against him and he recruited him since he was just a mighty mite in high school. They're so all in that they didn't even mess around. They got rid of Rosen. They named him starter day one. They even treated him like a starter, treated him like a returning star last night. Most guys who are just getting their feet wet, they would have given him more reps. Play him the whole first quarter. Play him the whole first half. Try to figure out, hey, this is NFL football. It's faster. Let's get you some more reps against the ones and the twos and maybe the threes of the other team. They didn't do that. They didn't treat him like he's a guy who's going to be a star. They treat him like a guy who is a star. Kyler Murray may make it, may not make it. But he's found the perfect fit, which in your job, in your relationship, in your life, is really all you can hope for. Because when you fit together, the bad times don't last as long, and the good times seem to be more prominent. It's incredibly important to find people that are not only bought in, but have lived your experience, understand who you are, what you bring to your experience, and have the complete and right support. Like, look, if he goes to a team that's built with a huge offensive line that wants to run the football and keep him in the pocket, not sure this thing works. But he goes to a team that's so desperate to be exciting, so desperate to be watchable, so desperate to find some different way of attacking the problem of not just being good in the NFL, but being relevant in the NFL, that they're willing to completely give themselves to the air raid offense. What more could you ask for? What I think he looked pretty good. Does that mean he'll be great week 10? Does that mean they're going to win the division? I think not. They can score some points? Sure seems like it. Can they stop anybody? No idea. Can they keep him upright? We'll see. How good is he long term? I'm not going to hot take it after watching him throw, 7 passes last night for 44 yards? But if it's ever going to work for a 5'10 quarterback who runs around, has a big arm, and gets a chance to play in the NFL, this is going to be it.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.